You are now listening to Vibe Selection with Kyra, where you can get the real on today's hot topics.
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Vibe Selection. As you already know, I am your host, Kyra, and on today's episode, I want to discuss this whole Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson debacle. So, for those of you that don't know, Keke Palmer has been in a relationship with a guy by the name of Darius Jackson, and they welcomed a little boy in February of this year named Leotis Jackson. And recently, Keke has been showing off her voluptuous, sexy mom bod all over IG and social media. And this apparently ruffled the feathers of her baby daddy, Darius. So, Keke had went to an Usher concert. He has a residency that's going on in Las Vegas right now. And you see Miss Keke get up in like this, black, sexy silhouette sheer outfit. And she's got the boobage going. She's got a little bit of booty poking out of it because it's sheer. And she goes up on stage, and you can see she's having herself a good old time, honey. She just had a baby. She's filled in very nicely since having that baby. For those of you that know, Keke has always been like a skinny mini. She ain't never really had much booty or any boobs or anything like that. And since she's had a child, she's just completely evolved immensely. And so, she's been feeling herself lately. So she's been posting a lot of pictures of herself looking wonderful, looking very classy, but sexy nonetheless. And apparently this has really upset her baby daddy. On stage with Usher, and she's dancing, she's swaying from side to side, she's flipping the hair, honey. She is just completely feeling herself. And apparently this ruffled the feathers of her baby daddy. And so he had posted a tweet. And he had said in this tweet, hold on a second, let me get this up. You a mom, though. To which you already know, honey, Keke is one of our cyber aunties, and we don't play about our cyber auntie Keke. So Instagram, Twitter, all over social media, ripped and lit Darius's ass up. To which he followed up with this response. He said, "We live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother of his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others and gets told how much of a hater he is. This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe in. I rest my case." Now, here's the problem with that situation. Not only just a couple of months ago, Darius had posted a picture of Keke Palmer twerking her cheeks on his IG, and he didn't have any problem with her displaying her booty cheeks then. So I don't really understand what the problem is now. Not only that, but right after they had welcomed their first child together, Leotis, in February of this year, he had posted a picture of himself with no shirt on in his boxers on IG. So is that thirst trapping or not? So how is it okay for you as a father to not think that there's an issue with you being half naked, practically naked on social media, displaying yourself just in your boxers, literally only a week after your girlfriend had just welcomed your son into the world? But then it's a problem with her embracing her body after she just had a child. And you have a problem with that. And you have a problem with her just wearing a nice, classy, sexy outfit. I mean, the outfit wasn't super risque, in my opinion. I didn't really think that there was anything wrong with the way that the outfit looked at all. There's a time and place for that. And the time and place for that was the Usher concert, honey. So according, in my book, Keke Palmer was dressed accordingly, and she was dressed completely for the occasion. And in my opinion, I didn't see anything wrong with what she was wearing. A lot of women around her were wearing very similar attires as well. And I'm sure a lot of the women that were in the crowd were mothers just as much as Keke was. I'm sure they have several children. So it doesn't have to stop. The way that you dress does not need to stop just because you have a child. And so I'm thinking that there's a lot of trouble in paradise going on. Well, clearly there's a lot of trouble in paradise going on, because even 2 days prior to him tweeting, "You a mother," he had made a comment under one of the pictures she had posted and was like, "Chill, babe. I can't fight off everybody." So, I mean, I think what the bottom line of this situation is, what this reeks to me, is the fact that Darius is highly insecure of the fact that Keke Palmer, number one, is embracing her sexy after just having a child, which is really hard for a lot of mothers, you know, new mothers in the world, and mothers in general. When they have a child, it's hard for them to feel sexy because your body goes through physical and emotional changes. You know, a lot of times, you know, when you have a child, you have a lot of rapid weight gain and unpleasant areas that you don't want, like your stomach gets bigger. And then, you know, a lot of times women gain stretch marks. A lot of times also the emotional issues are, you know, a lot of women go through postpartum after they have their children as well. So it's hard for women to feel a sense of sexy after having a children because of all of the changes that our bodies go through. Now, I'm not a mother. I've never had children, but based upon speaking to other people that I know that do have children, this is something that is, you know, an issue with a lot of them, is that they don't feel sexy. They don't want to get out of the house. They're tired all the time. And then there's this expectation that as a mother, once you have a child, you have to pretty much sit in a fucking rocking chair and waste away. You can't feel sexy. You can't wear things that you used to wear before. And here's the thing about this situation. You know, Keke, she has been dressing like this for a long time. I think now that she's had the child, when I've seen her on social media, she's been looking classier than what she's looked in the past. And I mean, Keke has always been a classy, respectable woman, but I thought that the way that she was dressing prior to her having a child was more like young and kind of stripper-esque type of, you know, attire that she would wear sometimes. And it was more revealing than what it is now. So the fact that you already knew what she was about before she even had this baby, and now you feel like because of a woman, you're trying to demean her in a sense of saying because she's a mother that she has to pretty much sit in a fucking rocking chair and waste away while you post dick print pics on your IG of your body. And we have to do, and you think that it's okay for you to look like that, but she can't go out and look how she wants to look. It's a double standard that's going out there. And the fact that there was also so many men that were vouching and agreeing with what he was saying was crazy. Now, Keke Palmer met Darius Jackson in March of 2021 at a party that Issa Rae. So Keke Palmer had met Darius Jackson in 2021 at a Memorial Day party that was being hosted by Issa Rae and Diddy. And Darius was actually the plus one to his brother, Saronis Jackson, who played Alejandro on Issa Rae's show Insecure. And so he met Keke Palmer and they developed a relationship. Now, what has me really also side-eyeing her baby daddy is because 3 weeks prior to him even meeting Keke Palmer, apparently he was in a relationship with someone else. And that relationship completely overlapped the timeline of when he got with Keke Palmer. So there's a girl by the name of Taylor Marie who went on TikTok and she had posted a video. And she had said in this TikTok video pretty much that Darius forced her to get an abortion. And so she had said, when he gets you pregnant, presses you to have an abortion, and 3 weeks later is booed up with Keke Palmer. Now, this had a lot of eyes turning at the situation because, number one, how is it that 3 weeks prior you had someone get an abortion, but 3 weeks later you go on IG and mention, you know, profess your love for Keke Palmer and announce that you guys are in a relationship with each other when just 3 weeks ago you had forced this girl to get a abortion, allegedly. So that really had me side-eyeing him. Not only that, but the fact that Darius doesn't really have any verifiable income, there's no real notion on what he actually does for a living. To me, this seems like the fact that he ended up getting Keke Palmer pregnant this year, a whole year later, pretty much, and she had the baby this year, makes me think that this was more of a come up for him. Because how is it that you had this girl have an abortion for you, but then you go ahead and then you end up having a baby with Keke Palmer? So with the fact that you don't have a real job, at least that not that anybody knows about, it kind of makes me think that you only got with Keke Palmer as a come up. And so another thing that really had me kind of like side-eyeing Darius, and Black Twitter, mind you, was the fact that he had made some disparaging comments about Alton Sterling, who was killed by the police some years ago, in that whole situation, and stating that it was Alton Sterling's fault for getting killed by the police, which really, really, really kind of made me side-eye Darius even more. Now, it appears that Darius and Keke Palmer have unfollowed each other on social media. And in a recent interview that Keke had did with The Cut magazine, she had made a comment as to what her feelings are about, Darius's disparaging comments about the way that she dressed in the article. So it says, "Do you, moms, do you? Girl, if there is one person on this earth that loves you for sure, it's the baby. Be happy because there's no love like it." And then she also posted a video with her and little Leo, and she mentioned that she's a mother and a mother always, and created some merch t-shirts off of the slogan as well, which I am mad at that, Keke. Go ahead and get your coins. But, what this really brings to the forefront to me is the issue with men in today's society wanting to have women who are quote unquote so-called traditional, but yet none of these men seem to be choosing women that are traditional, and then mad when these women don't live up to their quote-unquote expectation. Keke has been dressing this way for a really long time. And I don't think just because you're a mother that you should have to change the way that you dress, especially if as a father, as a man, you chose a woman who you seemed okay with dressing provocative, quote-unquote provocative, because that's how he feels, when you first dated her, and expect her to change that just because she has a child. I think that it's very telling that women always are expected to change the way that they act, the way that they looked, always have to be, facing so much scrutiny in life, but men get a hall pass. They can do whatever they want and then chalk it up to them just simply being men. They can go out here and, be hanging on the block and doing things that they shouldn't do as fathers, but yet the women have to sit in a fucking rocking chair and have to accept that. But also what brings issue to me with this situation is Darius doesn't have any verifiable income, but wants to, preach about the fact that he's the man of the household. Well, sir, when you start providing all the plates, the silverware, paying for the rent, paying for the car note, and everything else that involves being a man that you quote unquote feel like you are, then that's when you should make the decisions in the household. But the fact that you feel like Keke, who's clearly the breadwinner in this situation, has to sit in a rocking chair and waste away, and she can't go out and she can't dress how she used to dress, and that's a problem for you, also brings to issue that there's so many men in our society now that don't want to do things that are traditional, but they want a woman with traditional values. Now, for me, what I don't understand is Darius is preaching about he wants a woman that's traditional and, he's the man of the house, this, that, and the third, and he wants his woman to look a certain type of way, and he's trying to protect his family, this, that, and the third. But to me, if you really wanted a traditional family, then why didn't you marry Keke Palmer? So you literally sat here and had a baby out of wedlock, which is not deemed as traditional. The traditional thing would have been to marry her in the first place, then have a child, okay? And then be able to say, okay, I want a relationship that's traditional. But the fact that you completely did that backwards is what's really having a lot of people also side-eye the situation. You can't want to have a relationship that's traditional when you're not even traditional. it's completely hypocritical. You have a lot of these men on IG talking about they want these types of things. And I also hear from a lot of rappers. They down talk, these girls that do OnlyFans and that show their bodies off on IG. But yet, none of these men follow any women who are deemed traditional. They don't follow any women that are conservative on their IGs. All they're following is IG thoughts and IG baddies. So for me, your walk has to match your talk. And I really think what this has to do with Darius being so upset about this whole, Keke Palmer situation has to do. And what I really feel like the issue here with Darius is he feels that his ego is bruised because he sees that he has a very successful woman, Keke Palmer, who can have a lot of suitors. And by the looks of how she was looking and dancing on stage with Usher, I wouldn't be surprised if, some situations was going backstage, because she was definitely feeling it, and he definitely seemed like Usher definitely seemed like he was feeling it as well. And so I feel like this was a situation where Darius's ego was bruised. He's not a known person. No one knows who Darius is. No one knows what he does as far as a job. Here, Keke Palmer, she obviously has more of a network than Darius does. She's also able to be in more spaces than Darius is able to be in, and she's also able to attract the attention of people like Usher and other celebrity men and other very powerful men. And I think in that moment, seeing her on stage looking good, having a great old time, I really think that triggered an insecurity in him. And I think that him talking about the way that she dressed was not really the real issue. I think it was his realization that she can have whoever the hell she wanted to have in the industry, and knows that she can upgrade him while he's sitting on the couch rocking Leotis to sleep. I really think that that's something that triggered him. This is why I understand why sometimes people feel like they need to date people that are in their league and that are in their status financially and, job-wise as well, because sometimes you run into situations like this where as a man in society, you're supposed to be the breadwinner. You're supposed to be the head of the household. But in this situation with Darius, the roles are kind of reversed. Keke is essentially, like I said, the head of the household. So for him as a man, and him talking about traditional values and what he wants in a woman, he needs her to be traditional. This is a trigger point for, I feel like, a lot of men in this society, because in the society that we've been living in for centuries, it has been taught that men are supposed to be the head of the households, the breadwinners, and women were just supposed to fall in line and follow behind the man and allow them to provide. So now, the roles are reversed in the times now where women can be at the same level as men. And that can be very triggering for a man that's not secure within himself. And I think that this is a sign for women that when you identify that you're in a relationship with somebody who is insecure in this way, who's not maybe on the level of financial status as you may be, reevaluate the relationship. And sometimes it's just better to date with what's in your league. Sometimes when you date the person that's the bus driver or the sanitation worker or the school teacher, and you're the person that's making $300K a year or $1 million a year, or you're a celebrity, sometimes it can create this, divide in the relationship, and it can cause a lot of problems down the line. I was surprised and didn't understand why Darius had made this comment and put it all over social media, when really he should have been having a private conversation with Keke about his feeling towards the way that she dressed. He should have never put that on social media in the first place. And then when the kitchen got too hot, Darius cowardly copped out and deleted all of his social media, his Instagram and his Twitter. I believe he's back on IG now, but he had deleted it for a couple of days. Now, if you don't like the heat, honey, stay out the damn kitchen. Don't fire any ammunition out unless you're ready for retaliation. And the comments that Darius made are part of the reason why so many women, after they have children, go through postpartum depression, because they feel like they have to lose their complete identity once they become a mother, because of what society says or what their husbands have to say or their significant others have to say, and how society is led to make women feel and believe about themselves after they have children. And I think that this is the issue that really needs to be raised, is that just because you're a mother, you don't need to lose your identity. You don't have to stop dressing completely the way that you were dressing before. Yeah, I mean, are there certain places, like if you go to the park, should you be going to the park in a super skimpy top or a little mini skirt? No, but at the same time, you are and you do have the right to feel and dress sexy when you want to, But I know that this has been a really big topic amongst people in, should you date somebody that is, making less than you or not? Should you worry about what people's job titles are? And personally, I think sometimes you definitely do. Now, obviously, we don't know what the outcome is going to be with the situation with Darius and Keke Palmer, but as far as we know right now, they seem to be broken up based upon the fact that they unfollowed each other on social media. But I know, when you have a child together, it can complicate things a lot. So I'm pretty sure, they're going to reconcile sometime down the line and try to work through things, or maybe they won't. They may figure out that, they're on two different wavelengths and they're better off just co-parenting their child together. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on this situation. Do you feel like when you become a mother that you have to change the way that you dress just because you're a mother? Let me know what you think. Well, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Vibe Selection. As you already know, I am your host, Kyra. If you'd like to follow me on IG, please do so at Vibeselectionpodcast. If you'd like to donate and support the Vibe Selection Podcast, you can do so at www.patreon.com/Vibeselection. And make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button. See you all next week. Bye.
Thank you for joining Vibe Selection with Kyra. Come vibe out with us again next time and hear the latest on today's hot topics. Find us on Instagram at I am Kyra Mahoney or donate at www.patreon.com/Vibeselection.